Okay, everyone, sorry about that. I'm still trying to learn how to use this new software. So I realized that with this version, I can only tape 15-minute long lectures. So what I'll do is for this lecture, I'll break it up in parts and you would basically just play each part. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I will try to see what IT can do to assist me. But moving along, we just spoke about the currently available products and services, and if we can improve them, then we can generate ideas and basically commercialize our ideas because it would be a source of opportunity. If you look at the external environment, I mean, outside of look at political changes, economic changes, changes in societies. All these changes are actually sources with which we ourselves can come up with ideas that involve solutions, ideas that involves improvements, ideas with which we can come up with products and services. Okay, that's where ideas do come from. uh Unsolved problems. Once there's an unsolved problem, guys, you can generate ideas which would be your ultimate solution, and hence it would be a potential source of an opportunity. The other one here is the gap in the marketplace. A gap in the marketplace simply means that in certain countries or even certain areas of a country, if something is not available at that point in time, then there would be basically a scarcity or deficit in supply. And that gap in terms of what is being currently available, once there is a demand for it, then that gap that exists is a source for opportunity and idea creation. Okay, so all these external environments here are explained in terms of the social, the economic, the technological. You can read these, the political changes, things that happen in the law, government regulations that can actually cause ideas and opportunities to be formed, right? So we looked at environmental scanning actually, which involve one, to look at the environment, if it's economically, politically, what have you, and come up with ideas. But another way that one can come up with ideas is to actually creatively solve problems, which is number two, creative problem solving. Brainstorming is another structured way where you can generate ideas. As you can see later on, what brainstorming is, a group of people generating as many ideas as possible. And a focus group is just like a business brainstorming um, process, but it is where you got a moderator that leads the discussion. There are specific issues that are addressed, and sometimes it includes experts in the field. So class, when you all come together, when you all have to generate ideas for your class project, you can use brainstorming as an approach, or even the focus group. You can actually even use creative problem solving to see what problems students or your friends or your neighbors, what they exist, what they're exposed to, and if you come up with a solution, a marketable solution where you can actually come up with a product or a service, it will be excellent, an excellent source with where you can start for your class business. All right, so let's move on. I just want to say that on a separate note, on a separate presentation, I will discuss our assignments. I think I would leave it as a read-only file so that you will actually see what are all our assignments. Well, for our first class, when we did the orientation, I explained the assignments, but it would be made available for those who couldn't attend that session. That's okay, that's fine. You will have the information nevertheless. And then I will also explain one of our assignments, how to do it, which is actually generating ideas. It is based on this lecture. Stage 2, evaluating business ideas. Why do entrepreneurs evaluate business ideas? You want to minimize your risk. You want to maximize your returns. You want to know what is important. You want to be able to make use of your limited resources and basically identify your strengths and weaknesses. And how can one evaluate an idea? you can look at your personal issues first to see whether if you're passionate about it, whether if you have the capabilities. So evaluating the idea against what you can do and what you are prepared to do. And then, more importantly, guys, the market issues. And in this class, whenever I say the word market, I mean customers. I mean the purchasers of your product or services. And what I would like to say is that if in your idea there are people who would be demanding your product, or there are customers who would need and who will buy, effectively buy your products, right? Meaning that they can pay for it, right? You have, basically an idea with which you can continue to research because it seems to be okay, and continue to look at its feasibility. But also, when you're evaluating an idea, you need to look at your competition, you need to look at the prices, all these things that help you in your decision whether if you should implement this idea or not. So, in idea evaluation, remember we had the first screen, which is step 2 of the entrepreneurial process. So step 1 was to develop ideas. Step 2 was to screen the ideas. And in screening the ideas, these are some questions, basic questions that the entrepreneur would want to ask to see if this would give them a first pass before they can move on to step 3 of the entrepreneurial process, which is to conduct a feasibility study. So these are the questions and the issues that needs to be addressed. And what you can do when you're evaluating an idea, a preliminary idea evaluation, which is step 2, I just had to repeat that. You can actually create an evaluation matrix where you write down or you list all your ideas, and then you basically write down some areas of importance, which is considered your criteria for selection. And then you can score each of those criteria in terms of how those ideas match up, or how, what are the answers that you get. So let's say, for example, we have two ideas that you generate. One would be ice cream, let's say homemade ice cream, and the other one basically cornbread. And out of a score of 1 to 10, where 1 being high and low, and 10 being the highest, you say which one would have the highest demand. So for ice cream, which is idea 1, you might give it a 7. Whereas for corn pie or cornbread, you might give it a 3 out of 10. So you score your ideas, and in the end you tally it up, and whichever gets the highest will basically help you to select the idea that you can continue to work on for implementation. Now we have the feasibility study, which is step 3 of the entrepreneurial process. This one is evaluating your ideas, but it is, as I say, more comprehensive. It looks at some key areas of importance. It looks for statistics. You got to do counting, you got to do surveys. I mean, a feasibility study is in-depth research on your idea, just to make sure that it is indeed feasible. Because here what? Nobody wants to go and implement a business or even waste time on writing a business plan when the idea indeed is not going to work. Nobody's going to buy it. It's not going to make any money. It's not creating value. So how do you conduct a feasibility study? I mean, you can look at the financial or the profitability aspect of it, the management, whether if you have the HR, the marketing, whether if you have a ready market, and how does the market accept your product or service. What are the features that they like or dislike? What are the legal matters? We would look at feasibility studies, a little more in depth later on. And a business plan is the 4th stage of the entrepreneurial process. And what that is once your idea has gone through stages 1 to 3, where you generated the idea, evaluated the idea, the first screen, you conducted a feasibility study, and you got green lights for all, basically you go right ahead and you write a business plan, which is step 4, right? And what is a business plan? It's just like if you're planning a party, you got to plan, who would DJ, the caterers, the location, the decorations, but it's in paper. You basically plan your business. It's a written document that carefully explains every aspect of a new venture. And who are the third parties or who read these business plans would be investors, stakeholders, partners, government agencies, anybody who are persons of interest or who would be connected to your business that you need to speak with them before implementation or even during its business implementation. You would rely on your business plan. Many entrepreneurs, they write business plans. Some do not. Some don't. Some actually plan in their head. But basically, a business plan is a carefully written document that explains all aspects of the business. As I said, HR, human resources, your finance, your location, your suppliers, your vision and mission statements, your risks, basically some of your operations and the flow of those operations. It will detail all of these. And implementation, well, this is when you've already written your business plan and you are starting activities to open your new venture, to launch your new venture, or to start your new venture. All activities that are associated with starting the venture. Okay, opening the business as for example. So these are some activities that are associated with implementation: selling, advertising, setting up loan meetings, registering the business, and so on, hiring staff, and so on. Okay, now these are some terms I just placed here for you all to read, just to get acquainted with some terms, entrepreneurial terms, business terms. What do entrepreneurs do? Managing customer service and so on. I placed this here for you to read. And this one outlines managing people, right? Things like how do you manage people? You got to hire them, which is recruiting and selecting, motivate them, and so on. We will look at all these terms. I'm just giving you an overview here today. Managing growth, how to exit, so why do we exit businesses? How does an entrepreneur manage life? We will look at all these. And also the type of commercial businesses that exist: survival, lifestyle, managed growth, aggressive growth, and so on. All these are explained here in this lecture. Okay, so what I would want to say at the end of this video is, or what I really wanted you to take from this video, is to understand the entrepreneurial process. And what we looked at today was in-depth stage 1 and stage 2 of the entrepreneurial process. How do we generate ideas and how do we evaluate them? We looked at an overview of stage 3, 4, and 5, which were feasibility studies, business plans, and business implementation. We would actually look at stages 3 to 5 in depth later on in the semester. Stay tuned and look out for the PowerPoint presentation that I would post, which details how to do one of our assignments that deals with this lecture. Because you would have to generate 25 business ideas, and then you would have to evaluate those ideas using whatever method that you think is necessary, but also it is in time with entrepreneurial principles. Like, just look at the matrix that I did, and you evaluate your ideas, and then you choose your top 1 idea out of those. So let me repeat, and I would put up this in the presentation. Generate 25 business ideas. Out of those 25 ideas, you choose like about 4 of those best ideas with which you would evaluate using, let's say, a decision matrix. You create your own criteria, and then coming out of that, whichever idea scored the highest is what you would select and say, we would use that idea for later on in the semester. Take care. Have a good week.